Well, hello there. So I've just come out of the water, just smoked a little bit of tobacco, and I'm going to share with you what's been going on for me lately. So what I've realised is that I'm experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder at the moment. So it's not easy for me to function, and I get triggered by pretty much everything at the moment, and I'm finding it very hard to function in terms of everyday life. And what's going on is that I'm feeling all sorts of feelings, and events from the past are coming up, so it's an opportunity for me to feel all the traumas. And so I'm going through a healing crisis, and also this feels like the collapse of the timeline. So for different people, the collapsing of the timelines is going to feel very different. But for anyone who's been through a lot of trauma, what it feels like is all the events from different time periods are all kind of coming up at the same time. And then very much reminds us of a client from a few years ago who was experiencing this, and how very difficult it was for her indeed. And the reason I'm making this film is to help other people and to help myself, in fact. And so what I find is, in order to be able to talk about these things, there needs to be some kind of hope coming up, and that's very much what's happened for me. So I was actually recommended by my good friend Paz to explore a form of therapy which is called EMDR, and I'm not functioning enough to be able to tell you what those initials mean, but EMDR is a very particular form of therapy, and what happens is it's a combination of things. So the client is working with a therapist, and they make use of either a light or sounds or tapping, and what the client does is the therapist invites them to talk about events from the past, and the client feels all the feelings from that past event, and while they're feeling the feelings, this light or the sound or the tapping is used so that the person is at the same time in the events from what we label as the past, feeling the feelings and being present to the moving light or sounds or tapping. And it seems that what this does is it enables something to happen which is quite miraculous, whereby the client is actually able, for the first time ever, to actually, by feeling the feelings and being present to the movement, actually let go. So I've just made an appointment with the doctor this morning so that I can get a referral for this. And this EMDR is available on the NHS if you happen to live in the UK, and it's a form of therapy that's been around for 25 years, and there's over 100,000 therapists in the world practicing this, so it is something that is widely available, which makes me feel very excited indeed that there's actually a light at the end of the tunnel for me and for other people in this situation. And I guess how I feel at the moment is always darkest before the dawn. So I feel I'm going through something very dark at the moment. And it's funny how little things will come up. So on my walk down to the sea today, I noticed two little boys, and they're both playing on the grass. And I saw them playing on the grass, so I thought, oh, that's nice. Two boys not being raped. And so there's a kind of a dark humour in all this as well that's going on. And one of the ways that I'm so aware of how things are affecting me is it's now reached the point that I get triggered by so many things. So for example, if I know I've got to make a phone call or go online to do something, that just brings up terror, really. And it's a terror of being powerless and not being able to cope. And that's very much what I'm going through at the moment. And the reason I'm making the film is because I feel so heartened by the fact that there is hope, there is something that's going to help me, and that once I've gone through this process and completed it, I'm going to feel very different from how I've ever felt before. So this is very exciting for me, and I will obviously keep you updated as to how I get on with it all. So that is me on a Tuesday morning by the sea. And just to say that when a person is going through these really difficult experiences, the important thing to do is to do the things that nourish and nurture you and help you in your moments, which is why for me to cleanse myself, and for me, like for anyone who's experienced abuse, there's so much shame attached to this. So literally when I get in the water, it's like a baptism. It's like I wash all the shame away, and that's why I need to do this frequently. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, and thank you very much for listening.